we get DMCA'd in the first 5 seconds of the show? What the hey?
I don't think our singing is good enough to get in trouble
This is true. I don't know. I've heard some crazy stories from YouTube where it's like there's this one guy I watch, RCE. His name's it's Real Civil Engineer. He's like a British guy, and he used to be an engineer working in like water filtration systems in cities and stuff like that. And then he became a YouTuber, and I used to watch his stuff a lot. I like watching his stuff where he builds bridges because he talks about like actual bridge concepts and stuff like that. And I like playing like when he plays games that have to do with engineering and like sometimes city skylines. But then sometimes he's just like playing games.
I was gonna ask if he played that game because it's like that's straight up his job in real life.
That's how I found him. Was him a city skylines
I had a feeling.
video.
I don't know why. Yeah.
So like when he does videos not about engineering, I'm less interested. Like he's a funny, entertaining, charming guy. I just don't give a shit because I'm like I watch you because you're an engineer. Like do engineer things, which is a little dance monkey dance, but you know.
It's all right. You're consuming. You're allowed to. It's not like you're actually speaking to him. You're allowed to, you know, want certain things.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
a viewer.
So when he does this video series, there's these games called Poly Bridge where you build bridges and vehicles go across them. Very fun looking games. I want to buy them and play them because they look like a lot of fun.
I know those games.
I don't know. I played like Bridge Constructor, Walking Dead, and Bridge Constructor Portal, which are essentially the same exact games, but Poly Bridge looks more refined, I would say. I'm not quite sure, but it's got some really cool stuff.
In Walking Dead Bridge Constructor, are you trying to keep zombies from crossing, or are you trying to make a bridge that they can cross?
You're trying to make a bridge the survivors can cross, and then I forget what happens.
Then you want it to fall apart conveniently after.
Maybe.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe that's later. I only played like 2 levels, so I didn't really get very far in that.
I've never played it. I knew it had to be one of these things.
You were right on the money. Zombies are involved.
That'd be awesome to make a Walking Dead game that just has no zombies in it.
No zombies whatsoever.
No, they're not around here. This was a rural area before the whole thing.
Yeah, and actually the zombies haven't gotten here yet, so no one actually acts like they're zombies, and no one knows. So,
yeah.
So anyways, he makes a series about Poly Bridge, and those are interesting because he uses his engineering techniques. And sometimes he'll have a bridge that takes a long time to make, so he'll like do hey, we're gonna do a song now, and then it's like he acapellas, like does the instruments, does the vocals of a song, like that's a cover of another song, and a lot of times he'll make the lyrics about bridges. But then the one time he did like a cover of Sweet Child of Mine by the Guns N' Roses, and it got DMCA'd, even though like all of these covers are not good sounding. Like they do not sound good. Like they're charming.
That's crazy.
But they don't sound good. So it's So I'm just this long circuitous story is basically me saying they'll get anybody, man.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
I have a.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I've been streaming. I only did it once so far. We can talk about it a little bit later. Okay. But I've started streaming some games on this channel. But
that's right.
I occasionally am playing music, but I have it set to a different. So when it goes to VOD, it won't upload. So I'm safe, but I think they can get you live, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah. We'd have to have successful. Like any profile, you know.
Yeah. But so that works well. The only thing is if you watch the VOD, I might look crazy at certain points, especially if I start like singing along or anything like that. But whatever, small price to pay.
I see. Well, we can always figure something out. We can always because I am gonna download those VODs and edit them and
okay.
Eventually, because I've still got your VODs from you playing Half-Life 2 in VR. I've got VODs of Matt playing Mass Effect, which I wouldn't have called Matt's Effect. But now that you're playing Mass Effect, it'd be weird to edit 2 Mass Effect videos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave it. You don't have to. It's up to you, you know. Or if you want to do his and not mine, I'm not upset about that either. You just, you do whatever. I think
there's definitely value in yours as well.
Whatever strikes your fancy, you know, whatever, you know, whatever has you hear the muse tickling your fanny. That's the one you should go for.
It's just tough because I want to edit those videos, but like for instance the heavy rain video, which to be fair, it was 4 hours long, did take me like an entire month of like 12-hour days editing. So
I believe it. Like that's a long video.
it's a long video with a lot of
And
effects going
you
on.
don't have the same amount of free time
No.
that you once had.
But I did really fucking love editing that video. Like, I think back of that as like the good times almost, where it's like, you know, like I remember at one point there was a whole bunch of like mom had like a book club, so there was a bunch of like taco meat left over, and a bunch of taco shells. So like for like a week in a row, I would just come up to my room, make a bunch of tacos, and just edit, and it was a great time.
Isn't it awesome when you're able to just follow your creative pursuits, and it doesn't have to be for money or for anything, just because you want to do it. It's the most like validating feeling, I think. Just
it is
just to make something you want to make because you want to make it, and that you know, letting that be your like North Star for it is just a great feeling. But there's not really room for a lot of that.
No.
When you have to pay bills and shit.
That's why we're trying to make this channel pop off, so we can
right
follow those things.
I mean, even with that, even if that happens, we'll still have to like,
oh yeah, we have to like,
you know, focus on making content for people that want to see it. But so that's still not quite capturing that. Just like, I'm gonna take some popsicle sticks and glue them together and make something for no reason other than I feel like doing it right now.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
That is a good feeling. But yeah, I do want to edit those videos eventually, and I want to edit the video of us commentating the DrawBomb wrestling.
Oh yeah,
that's still got to happen. And I would love to shoot more of those with you guys, but it's the schedules. They've been hard to coordinate, man. Like, jeez.
They are hard to coordinate.
Well, you know. Anyways, Brandon.
Yes, Ian.
What have you been up to this week?
Working at my job. That's the majority of it. But what else? What else? Not much. We've been so busy since like May that this week I'm not, and so I've just been like
chilling,
going to work at my job and then coming home and working on jobs at home, which sounds like a lot, but it's kind of nice to just do some normal stuff and make money instead of spend it for a minute.
I feel that.
So I've just been doing normal, boring stuff, but it's okay. It's good.
I haven't had a fucking week to myself since May, maybe even April. It's been crazy. It's
like
whirlwind.
You just recently had all those moochers come to your house and live there for a week.
Ate a bunch of our food, drank a bunch of our booze. What a bunch of dicks. I think
you guys drank a bunch of my booze too, so it's
I
all,
definitely did. Yeah,
you know.
I 1000% did. So I got one more thing this coming weekend. I have a friend's wedding reception specifically, which should be a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, but it is like stuff I have to do this weekend. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then then next week will be like the first time in a while where there's like no plans and it's like sort of just like business as usual for like a hot minute. And I can't wait. Can't wait.
That's great.
Yeah. So you've been chilling. You've been, as they say in places, you've been on chills.
Yes, exactly that. That's what I've been doing. But yeah, that's been good. And I have Short Fest coming up this weekend. Right. You just went to the Philly one 2 days ago, correct?
That's correct. And boy, do I have some stories.
It's awesome. I'm excited to hear them.
Yeah. Which we can talk about those now if you'd like, if you're looking for a segue.
Sure. Real quick before we get to that, in the chat.
Yes.
We got Lotus Clock. We got Leviathan Den. Lotus Clock says, "I miss the funny men." Me too. If you see him, let me know.
Yeah, I've been on the lookout. I've been like scouring.
I want to, ask them how they do it.
Yeah.
Says Hello, Ian and Brandon. I'm glad you're back after being gone so long. Yeah, it's been a whole week, but we're here in the
Been a
flesh.
long time. It's been a long time, been a long time, been a long, lonely.
Leviathan Den says, sounded like a Katamari ditty you just did there. Oh, did you just cuss at the end of that song?
No, that was supposed to be the DMCA.
Oh, I understand. Been a long, lonely. Oh, we got Xenoots here as well. Welcome.
welcome.
Lotus Clock says they can be called Matt's Effect and Chaps Effect.
This is true, although I feel like Matt's Effect is the superior pun in this instance.
It definitely is.
Yeah. But still, I hope I get to edit those someday soon because I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm a lot faster at editing, and plus now I have like the studio version of DaVinci, which just like speed runs so many different features that like I was doing by hand for like your video and
That's
Matt's
awesome.
video. It's very cool.
I always have fun watching them. I don't have to do anything, and then I get to enjoy this nicely manicured and edited video
of you being hilarious, you know. If I'm hoping that work slows down a bit, like during the winter months, so that I'll have like maybe I'll work. I'm hoping I literally get my hours cut in half, which sounds like something no one says, but like I'm hoping my hours get cut in half, so I'll just have like time. So like I'll still make some money because I don't like my runway right now is not very large. You know, I basically have to pay my parents' rent, which is very cheap, and then my insurance, and then just have to make sure I don't like fucking buy a Harrier jet or something like that, and I can put away into savings.
No Harrier jets?
No Harrier jets, man. I gotta stop.
Oh, next. No avocado toast. No Harrier jets. What are we allowed to buy? How are we supposed to be happy?
Dude, you gotta scrimp and you gotta save, dude. So yeah, I'm hoping that my hours get cut in half so I can be. Oh, if you want, I can move the dumbbells too, if that's more convenient for you.
I just thought the proportions might be better for like putting the hands on the bar, making it look normal. If I shrunk the head a little bit, what do you think? Or do you think I should go bigger?
What was it? Can you undo so I can see
holding the bar up? Sure.
Well, I was thinking not holding the bar up, but it's like pressed against his chest, like he's like struggling.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll shrink it just a teeny bit then.
Okay.
Just a teeny bit.
Excuse me, what?
Anyways, you was saying.
What was I saying? I don't remember anymore.
You were talking about your hours, and then you were going to talk about short fest.
Yes, I hope my hours get cut in half once the winter months hit, so I can spend some time, you know, on the animations and stuff like that. But there's a little thing I can talk about in a little bit. But I want to talk about Short Fest first before I talk about personal news about me getting my foot in the door in the animation industry, essentially.
Ooh.
Also, we have Mad Lad in the chat saying, "What's up, DrawBomb Nation? Pepsi will give you one."
Hey.
Well, Pepsi will give us what?
Pepsi's giving us something?
I think Pepsi will give you one. That was posted. I can't see the timestamp. Wait, I'm gonna turn on timestamps.
A Harrier jet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Wait, yeah, that was a thing. That was like a thing they did. They like were like, "We'll give you a jet if you put in like this many bottle caps," and like some kid did that and they didn't give him the jet, and then it turned into a whole thing. I think I remember that story.
I mean, if you even get one, what do you do with it? Like, I don't think you can legally drive one, right?
No, God no.
Even somebody with a pilot's license probably can't legally drive one. There's probably like,
yeah,
you need some special license.
I think Pepsi like did it because they just didn't expect anyone to actually like do that much Pepsi things, and then this kid was like, "Well, I'll just get my whole like everyone I know to drink Pepsis for a while and see if they'll give me this Harrier jet," and then he did it. Pepsi was like, "What? No, we can't. We literally can't." And then it turned into like a lawsuit or something, and it's like a whole story. I remember reading about it. I don't remember all the details, but it's an interesting story for sure.
I remember hearing about it somewhat too.
I think I read a cracked article on it back in the day.
Sounds like something they write about.
Yeah, it's 1000% their wheelhouse back in the glory days of crack. So yeah, let's talk about Short Fest. Lee Thompson, Short Fest. If anyone's in the Michigan area, Lower Peninsula, I'm pretty sure is what you would call that
Yes.
section of Michigan.
Yes.
It will be coming to that area the 9th, 1 week from 2 days ago.
It's in Coldwater, Michigan, which is near, like, if you're from around here, it's near Kalamazoo.
Okay. And it seems like it's in like a really cool spot. I think it's in the Capri Drive-In, which I've seen video footage.
It's at an old drive-in theater, so that would be cool.
Yeah, the spot is actually super duper nice. There's a lot of space. So I hope that a lot of folks show up and turn out, because it looks like it could be a lot of fun. But yeah, so that's a thing. So we were in Short. My birthday is on the 9th. I'm going to age. Oh, snap. Giving any civilian a Harrier sounds like a super bad idea. 1,000%. I don't think you
Well, we won't know until we try, right? Like, don't just assume that
yeah,
no one can drive
why
a
are you
Harrier.
naysaying, you know?
Everything seems like a bad idea until you do it.
Exactly. Lotus Clock says, it sounds like that Simpsons episode where Bart wins an elephant in a radio contest. Context, I said that while you were talking about the Pepsi. I appreciate you providing the context, Lotus Clock. Sometimes that is super necessary.
Yeah, you saw us struggling on like every other comment.
Yeah. So Short Fest. We were there, or I was there. We were technically there. Our short that we made of the food. I don't know if you guys remember Cooking Carnage, the food chef one who doesn't like tomatoes or onions and likes chicken nuggets. I know Mad Lad was in the chat when we were recording voices for that one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we put that in Short Fest. There's a lot of really great animation this year in the festival. A lot of really charming stuff, a lot of really solid stuff. This one guy does these music videos every year, and they're so fucking sick. So cool. And this one guy also did this one this year. A lot of these animations are already available online to find. Where I would find all of them, I'm not totally sure. That poor napkin says Matt. Yeah, rest in peace, that napkin that I almost vomited chewing on. But yeah,
it probably ruined eating napkins for you.
I never want to eat a napkin again in my entire life. If I eat a napkin again, it'll be too soon.
You enjoy too much of something you love, and you just kind of ruin it for yourself.
Just ruin it for yourself, you know. But yeah, there was this one guy. He did an animation last year called like Bobbing for Apples, and it was crazy, great, like really smooth, like 24 FPS animation of like a person bobbing their dunking their head into a tank for apples, but every time it was like multiple shots, but like their head would like do crazy shit, like inhuman stuff, like twisting around, splitting into multiples.
I think you sent that to me. I think I saw this.
Yeah, I probably did, because I was like, this is so sick. That person had another animation in the festival this year. Now I remember seeing this on Newgrounds months ago. I'm not mad about it, but like, you know, it's on Newgrounds. I can say that. It's called like the Flossing Incident or something like that. And it's like so cool. It gives me heebie-jeebies a little bit. I didn't watch it when it was first posted to Newgrounds because I didn't want to watch a guy sneeze when he flosses, because that's horrifying to me to think about to me. But it's actually so fucking sick. Like, the animation is so cool. Like, the where it goes, like, there's like this thing that happens in it, and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. And of course, the animation is phenomenal once again. And then like, there's a button on the animation. You know what I mean? When I say a button, you know what I mean? Like, it's like something to kind of like finish things off and like really tie things up in like a beautiful little bow. And it's just like the coolest thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very sick. It's very gross. It wasn't not gross and horrific, but it was also so fucking cool.
I hope it's at the Michigan one, because I would like to see it. Otherwise, I'll just watch it Newground.
I think a lot of the higher profile animations will be at the Michigan one. There was a lot of Newgrounds animation in the Philadelphia one, but that's because Philadelphia is actually where Newgrounds headquarters is located. And there was like,
I didn't know that. That makes sense.
Yeah, and there was this guy who had talked to Tom Fulp, who was there, by the way, who talked about turning the Philadelphia one into like a Newgrounds meetup of sorts, which it kind of was a little bit. That's like giving a GXR to a Vespa enthusiast. That's exactly right. Motorcycles. I do think that this animation will be at the Michigan one, because our animation is going to play at both locations, which I think is very cool. But yeah, a lot of great
you said all the
animation.
high profile ones. That's
Yeah.
why ours is at both.
That's exactly right. We're so high profile. Crinkles was at the Short Fest, the guy who makes the Madness videos for New Rounds.
Cool.
And he had a new Madness episode that was 90% done. It was like a teaser for the newest Madness episode, and it ended like right when you didn't want it to end. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of great animation there. A lot of really cool stuff. A lot of really talented folks and just like really nice, passionate folks there. It was a lot of fun, and it rained on and off. So I was tasked with setting up the retro console station. And so I was doing that. We put it on like this fucking 1994 Mitsubishi like Japanese truck that's like tiny. I don't know if you know these kinds of trucks. They're like these tiny flatbeds that they look like a toy. But like I kind of think we should go back to this kind of truck, because it's like it's like tiny. It's like small. It can actually like fit places, you know, instead of like these giant. Like I have a fucking 2011 Ford Tacoma.
Yeah, and you
outside.
don't murder anybody that you get into an accident with. Probably.
I will. Yeah. Any accident. I'm the winner, unless it's like a Hummer. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't need a truck that big. Like my Taco's way too big. This truck was so cool and tiny. It was awesome. Zach says we can't go back to that kind of truck. I want us to though, and that's what like multiple people said. Is like multiple people would see that truck and be like, "Oh, that truck is sick. I wish we had trucks like that again around here."
Yeah.
Look up the chicken tax. I'm not doing that on the show, but it's not what I'm trying to draw. But it was a cool truck, and so what Lee wanted to do was and I was in charge of this station, is he wanted to set up a Super Nintendo with Mario Paint. He wanted to set up a GameCube with Smash Bros. And like this little screen that you can like play on the GameCube, and then it was a Wii game that was also a drawing game. So there's like 2 creative games to play, and then like a little game for people to play Smash on, you know?
That's a good idea, the Mario Paint and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt very old, because I was like, oh, I used to play this game as a kid, and there was like multiple people who'd show up and be like, whoa, I've heard of this. And I'm like, I'm so old.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Whoa, in the flesh? Hard to imagine.
Oh, man. It's what like
this Mario Paint?
Mario
Weird.
Paint? This one guy whose name was Beta, he showed up with one of my friends, and I was like, oh, hey, can I get you a drink or anything like that? He's like, I'm 16. And I'm like, oh, you're 1 year less than half my age. Okay, cool. It was cool, though. He won a Sharpie, like, deluxe package, like, in a sort of, like, raffle. He was thrilled about that. So nice. He got to go away with, like, a shit ton of markers, and I'm super thrilled for him about that.
It's like a buy-in raffle type thing?
It was yeah, I think you basically, once you show up to the festival, you can get like 1 ticket, and then, you know, then you have a ticket, which is nice, because that means it's free, because there's no like entry fee to the Short Festival. Which I think
gotcha. I didn't know if it was like a lot of places will do like a raffle where everybody buys a ticket, you know.
I see. I think I got a free ticket. I may have gotten a free ticket because, like Lee said, like we're in the show, we get a ticket. You may have been able to buy more tickets. I'm not totally
gotcha.
Sure. It's all automobile manufacturers using legal loopholes to basically block out foreign utility trucks from entering the states, but our trucks are getting bigger and dumber to skirt emission rulings. Oh, well, that sucks. But not surprising.
Exactly.
Sounds like a classic situation. But yeah, I would love for those small trucks to make a comeback. Somebody make one, god damn it. So when I was setting up this retro game console station, the Wii remotes didn't have any working batteries. The one had like the batteries exploded inside of the remote, so I had to like, I tried to get new batteries, we didn't have any, so I had to like run. Lee's like, there's a Rite Aid down the street, check them out, and I went, and they didn't have any batteries, and I asked them, can you, or they did have the batteries we needed, but the smallest pack they needed, or they had, was a 16 pack, which was like $30, and I was like, I need 2. So Is there anywhere else I can get these kinds of batteries? And the manager there was like super nice. He didn't have to do this. He was like, yeah, there's a CVS like blocks that way. So like, okay, cool. So I go to the CVS, and as I'm walking to the CVS, the sky is changing and rapidly. Because until then, we were like in the hot sun, blue sky, sweating our fucking asses off. I couldn't even think at points because I was so hot.
Ooh. I was walking around Philly a couple weeks ago, and it was similar. It was like it was 104 degrees.
Philly also just gets crazy hot because of all the blacktop that like. Yeah, the cement, the blacktop, the buildings with like windows and shit, like just reflecting all of that. It's like you're under a magnifying glass in Philly sometimes.
Yeah.
So as I'm like walking to the CVS, the skies are changing, very dramatically. By the way, like it was like I mean, I could just tell there was a storm brewing, and in Pennsylvania also there's a storm brewing. In Pennsylvania a lot also. It's like when it rains, it pours. So I get to the CVS, and I'm like, fuck. I get the batteries. Thankfully, they have the batteries. I get back to the Rite Aid, and as I'm heading back, because I have to like basically hit the Rite Aid and then like take a left to get back to the festival. I get to the Rite Aid, and I'm like, hey guys, just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for pointing me in the right direction. It really helped me out. You guys basically saved my duties in the event, so that was really nice of you guys to do me a solid like that. And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. And like as this conversation's happening, the heavens have opened up, and it is just dumping. It is dumping. It is actually dumping right before I got there, but I managed to mostly avoid getting wet. And like I get in there, by the way, and I'm like, I got the batteries, and the guy's like, that was fast. I was like, I ran.
I was avoiding the rains.
And then as I'm talking to them, I'm thanking them, and I'm like looking at the rain, just being like, guys, I don't want to go out there again. And they point to the poncho section. They're like, maybe you could probably use one of those. And I'm like, brilliant. So I run, I get a poncho.
I'll run back to the CVS and buy a poncho over there.
Yeah.
Thanks guys.
Thanks guys. Appreciate it. I bought the poncho, and then I walk in this pouring ass rain back to, the festival. I get there and the rain dies like fairly immediately, or not fairly, but like within the next 10 minutes. And then for the rest of the day, it rained on and off the whole time. Oh, and also, by the way, when I got back, the Super Nintendo was off. Like it looked like I had turned everything on to test them, and now this was off. So I was worried the rain had gotten to the truck, because we had put it under a tent.
Yeah, I was curious about that.
We'd put everything under a tent because Lee was aware that it was supposed to rain. But like I wasn't sure how solid this was going to be. It seemed like very sketch, and the truck bed was a tad damp, but I wiped it all up, and then there was like water pooling on the hood of the cabin, so I like used a rag to like push that off and like just push it forward, and then like every hour I would go out to the truck and just like push the rain off the hood of the cabin, and that worked. The shit was completely bone dry the rest of the night. So that was an adventure. Then I got to see Tom Fulp again. I'd met him the last year, but there was a guy who was like, he had like a whole folder of like, it was like a pitch deck for a thing he wanted to work on, and he brought it. So I look over, and like Lee's kind of mad at this guy because like he's basically, Lee feels like he's monopolizing Tom Fulp's time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, do you want me to go rescue Tom Fulp from this guy's conversation right now? Because he's like pitching a whole show to Tom Fulp right now. And he's like, if you could, that'd be great. So I walk up to Tom Fulp, and like for context, last year, met Tom Fulp, had a chat with him. It was amazing because he recognized me by my name tag, which I'll never forget that moment. But the day after we had met at the Short Fest last year, Tom Fulp messaged me on Newgrounds and was like, hey, did we take a selfie? And I was like, no. I forget to take pictures at events all the time because I'm just not a picture guy. I don't take pictures. I like to be in the moment. I don't like being like, oh yeah, look, a bear's attacking me. So
always take a picture of that.
Yeah, you should. So then I go over to Tom Fulp this year, and I'm like, I owe you a selfie. And then I pull him away from the guy, and I take a selfie with Tom Fulp, and then I just start talking to Tom just kind of like catching up and like, hey man, it's great to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Just kind of trying to get him like away from this guy. But this guy is like, he wants to have this conversation. So he's like,
oh yeah.
So now it's like not
shot in his head.
So now it's like, now I'm having a conversation with Tom Fulp and this other guy, who is very nice, by the way, because eventually, again, trying to kind of save Tom from the convo, eventually I'm like, Lee asks me to do something with the retro game truck, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go take care of that right away. I think we had to like unset it up because I also didn't talk to Tom till like the end of the night. I didn't even see him till then. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go unset up the retro game truck. And then as I'm doing that, I'm like, hey, guy, do you want to come? I'd already started talking to him, just trying to like, again, help Tom out. I'm like, guy, do you want to come with me and continue this conversation we're having away from Tom Fulp at this truck while I'm unsetting up this thing? So I did. Very nice guy. We did think he was maybe perhaps on the spectrum to some degree, just from his mannerisms, the way he acted, the way he talked about things. It just seemed like he may be somewhere on the spectrum. I mean, who isn't? You know, we're all on the spectrum to some degree, but he was pretty heavy in it. And so I did like talk with this guy for about 10 minutes while we were unsetting up the truck. And then eventually he just went back to talking to Tom. So I was like, look, man, I can only cut you off so many, like, I did my best.
You did what you could.
Did what I could. Anyways, very cool festival. And I didn't get to sleep until 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's what
Not
you said.
because of the festival, because I got lost on the drive home. And my phone died.
Oh, did you not get home till like 6?
No, I didn't get home until 6. I was driving. So here's the thing. Saturday was my first time ever driving myself to Philadelphia. Normally somebody else drives me or I take the train because I'm fucking terrified of driving. I think I've told this on the show before. I've definitely made you aware of it. I'm fucking scared of driving, man. But I drove to Philly for the first time on Saturday, and honestly, not a big deal. Pretty easy.
Yeah, it depends where you're going in Philly too. A lot of it's not too. At least the 2 times I've driven there, it wasn't too bad.
I was never in like full ass like Philadelphia city proper. Like it was definitely like a more suburban sort of area, so it was much easier. It was just like traffic lights essentially. But I'm driving home, and like I have to drop stuff off at Lee's sister's house because she provided like tables and stuff for the event. So I'm dropping this stuff off at Lee's sister's house. My phone went from 100% to 37% by the time I got to Philly, which was crazy to me, but it makes sense because I had a YouTube video playing so I could hear it like a podcast while I had the GPS open. Not a good idea. And then I didn't turn my phone into low battery mode. So by the time I was trying to leave Philadelphia, my phone was at 12% battery life. I dropped the stuff off at Lee's sister's house. I need to use GPS to figure out where the hell I'm going. Now my phone's at 8% battery life. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the thing. Getting to and from Philly is a straight shot. I get on one specific highway, and then I'm just there until I got to take the turnpike off. Easy. But because I'm in a new part of Philly, it takes me on a different route. And I'm going through weird towns, boroughs I've never seen before. I've never even heard of these fucking places. First of all, apparently...
You were in Jersey for hours.
I almost was, actually. Or maybe I was at one point. I don't know, because I was lost and my phone died. So, like, I'm driving. And then my phone says there's 25 minutes till I'm home, right? I'm good. My phone has hit 1% battery life, and the voice starts to crackle. I need to take, like, 3 different turns to get on these weird highways. The phone dies in the middle of the turns, so I don't know what my next step is. What do I do?
Oh, no.
So I tried to gauge it, and I tried to figure out what am I trying to head north, south, east, or west. I should have paid attention. I did not. And so I just park in a fucking, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning at this point, by the way. I park in a bank parking lot.
What time did you leave the festival?
Like 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And so I get to this bank parking lot, and I just park there, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, there's a St. Luke's hospital right there. Maybe someone at reception can let me charge my phone. No, this is not that kind of hospital. It's like in construction or something like that. I don't know. There's no one in there. It's a ghost town. So I'm like sitting in this bank parking lot trying to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do. And I see a cop car pass by, and I wave at him. And then I'm like waving, I'm waving. And then I see his turn signal turn on. And I'm like, oh my God, he's stopping. So like he stops by for me. I'm like, thank you so much. I'm lost. My phone's dead. I just need to figure out where I'm trying to go. He gives me directions. They're very helpful. I do his directions, and like I'm on the road he says I'm gonna be on, but then there's a secondary road I'm supposed to end up on from this first road that never shows up. I just never see, like, this is like you're supposed to end up on 33 or 22 or whatever. I forget at this point. That never shows up. I'm just like going down, and I'm like, what the hell?
You need a charger for your car, is what I'm learning from the story.
So that becomes a thing later. And so then I'm driving, and then I'm lost again. I'm just like, okay, well, like the roads that this guy said I would be on are no longer here. So I stop at a Dunkin' Donuts that is still open, and I'm like, I knock on the door because I thought maybe I saw somebody in there. I try and open the door. The door's not open. They're like, it's drive-through only. I walk up to the drive-through window. I don't drive. I walk up to the drive-through window, and I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to order food, and I'm not a psycho, I promise you. I'm lost and my phone is dead. Do you have a charger I could borrow or something? And she's like, no. Oh, wait, yes, my coworker said she has her phone charger. And I'm like, yes, thank you. And I run over to the window. I get to the window, and she's like, oh, she forgot it. And I'm like, can I use your GPS for a hot minute just to like figure out what directions I should be going in right now? So she does. I take the directions. I follow these directions. I like write down on a sheet of paper every like road I'm gonna take. I get on these roads, and then as I'm getting on these roads, like I see signs saying, this is your hometown, it's 29 miles this way. I'm like, thank God. And I just start following those signs pointing me to my hometown, you know? And eventually, like I'm following those signs, and eventually the signs kind of just disappear. I don't see my hometown's name showing up anymore. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm still going straight on this road. What the hell is happening? And then that's when I see a sign. By the way, it's 4 o'clock now in the morning. That's when I see a sign that says, New York City is 76 miles away, the direction you are going. And I'm like, that's not fucking right. So,
incorrect. So and just to be clear, this is normally about an hour and a half trip, right?
This is an hour and a half trip. It is now 3.5 hours. So then I'm like, what the fuck? And so I'm driving, and I see a Wawa, and I'm like, Wawas are 24/7, and they always sell junk, like things. So I stop in the Wawa, and sure enough, they have phone chargers and like USB cables next to the register. And I'm like, hey man, to the guy, because I need him to open the case for me, because it's like one of those anti-theft things. I'm like, can I get one of those? I've been lost. Sure. I just need this shit. He's like, oh man, that sucks. Yeah, here you go. I get that. I have a USB cable. I take it back out to the truck to charge my phone in the car. Oh, my truck doesn't have USB ports. Okay, that was 15 bucks. I gotta walk back into the Wawa. Hey man, can I borrow that cigarette lighter thingy? You plug it into the cigarette lighter, and then you can plug your electronics into it, and then you're good to go. He's like, yeah, sure. 15 bucks I have to spend. Okay, great. I spend the 15 bucks. I plug it into my car's cigarette lighter thingy. It doesn't work. I don't know why. The cigarette lighter in my car it wasn't charging my phone. So I have to walk back into the Wawa, and the guy's like, again! And I'm like, man, I don't know. My cigarette lighter's not working. If I buy that power block right there, can I please charge my phone at some outlet in this Wawa? Please. And he's like, yeah, it's not a problem. I'm like, thank you. So I get the phone, plug it in. Finally, I have battery life. And then as I'm like at 2%, the manager walks up and he's like, hey, I just want to let you know we actually really can't let people charge their shit here in the Wawa. And I'm like,
that's the only reason I bought it.
I'm like, I understand, man. I'm so fucking lost, and I've just been driving for like 3 hours or something like that. I'm just trying to get home. He's like, I understand, and I don't want you to go out lost again. It's just like you gotta leave after like 30 minutes or so. And I'm like, man, I'm leaving after 5. And so
yeah,
I get my phone charged up to 10% battery life. I message the family just to let them know I'm not dead, because Zach's worried shit at this point because I have
I thought, did Xenus go to the show with you?
Mm-hmm.
Was he on this journey with you?
He was not on this journey with me. Zach and Isabel left way earlier, and also got there way later because I drove by myself because I just had to help set up and unset up.
Sure. I was curious about that.
Yeah. So I get my phone charged up to 10% battery life. I get my directions on my GPS. I'm an hour away from home. I don't know how the fuck I went from 25 minutes.
So you made only a half an hour of progress in.
Yeah.
about 5 hours.
And so I get back in the car and I just drive for an hour. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I can see without my headlights at this point. I'm so pissed. I've spent 60, probably closer to $45 at this Wawa. And I can't even use
if you were driving continuously. How much were you driving continuously? How much time would you say you actually drove in the 5 hours that you were lost?
4 hours. No, actually, yeah, 4 hours.
You drove for 4 hours. Wild. So you spent a lot in gas.
Yes.
You spent a lot on charging tools.
I'm mad.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got home and I went to bed. And that's my story.
Wow, that sounds terrible. I'm glad you made it home.
Me too, man.
That was a riveting tale.
Fucking so unhappy about it. But honestly, the day was great.
I wonder where you went. I wish. That's interesting. I know your issue was partially that your cigarette lighter doesn't work, but I have a mount in my car. I don't know if it's the same in Pennsylvania, but they just recently made it a law that you should hold your phone. Like even if you're answering a call.
Oh yeah.
You're not allowed to you're not allowed to hold your phone in the car. If you're driving. Yeah, I'm not too mad about that. Anyway, so I had this even before that law, but regardless, I have this mount that just like mounts on the dash and it holds it up like a little arm. But the mount itself charges it. Like it's like one of those like sensor like those pads where it's just by touching it, it charges it.
That's fancy.
It's pretty nice.
I would love to have one of those. I think the truck is too old to accommodate such a feature, but we do. Here's the thing, on the truck.
If your cigarette lighter worked, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly. On the truck, and I was like, when I was buying the cigarette lighter thing, I was like, this is great because I can just charge my fucking phone anytime I'm driving. This is actually like a benefit beyond today.
Does it have the little like cigarette lighter thingy still? The like actual lighter part?
Yeah, I had to pull that out.
Does it work?
I don't think so. I don't know. It didn't seem to.
Because if it lights that up, then it probably still works somehow. But if it doesn't, then it's probably just broken.
I haven't done this test, so I'll have to do the control group some other day.
Just set yourself up for future success.
Yeah. Also, could have told you that the cigarette lighter didn't work, says Z-Newts, so.
Well, there you go.
There we go.
You should get, okay. Yeah, well, I guess you have one now. Power bank. Just charge that baby up and take it with you when you...
I think from now on, I'm not going to put like an hour-long YouTube video on for me to listen to while I'm also have the GPS on the screen. Like, and like when I was driving to Philly...
If you don't have a charger.
Yeah. There's a lot of mistakes made. So I know
my commute every day from work, my day job is about 40 minutes roughly, give or take. So I listen to a lot of YouTube videos in the car, but I do have a charger, so it makes it okay.
Yeah. So that was an awful experience that I hope to never have to
sorry to hear that. It was very interesting to listen to, but
I'm glad because I fucking talked for like a half hour.
It was a riveting tale. I was, that's crazy. I didn't know. You told me that you didn't go to bed till 6, but I was like, no part of me assumed that was because you were lost that whole time.
Yeah, I told you I went to bed at 6. I didn't tell you there was a whole story attached to that.
I'm trying to think what I would do in that scenario. I guess I would have some of the same stuff. I would have tried to buy a charger. Maybe I would have just bought a map at a certain point. I don't know.
I considered that. I was like, but like, I actually just wanted a fucking sign somewhere just saying like, these nearby towns are near you. I was like, I've never read signs like I did that night. And I couldn't find a fucking helpful sign at any point.
It's a miracle that people were able to get around before GPS, huh?
I know. Well, apparently they did, which means I'm fucking up somehow, so I gotta figure my shit. But
I remember like road trips as a kid, be my parents up front, and my mom would be like this giant road map out.
Yeah.
And my dad would be driving, and they would just like teamwork it. But
and here's the thing: if you gave me a map I could read it. I could get myself home with that map. I think. I'm confident in that.
I think so too.
Yeah, I'm pissed about that. That was a rough night for me.
Damn. Well, you know, shit happens.
Yeah.
It sets you up for better success next time.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a few things about what to do in such scenarios. And then also, ironically, I went to bed last night and woke up and I hadn't charged my phone, so I went to work with like a 30% battery life. And
At least you know how to get home from there.
Yes. But the funny thing is that today was also the first day I'm riding my bike to and from work again. So my phone died on the way home from work. So I'm like, oh, if I'm in fucking trouble again, I swear to God.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my short fest story. Most of it was not actually about the festival. A lot of it, but you know. Anyways, Brandon, do you have any stories to tell that aren't harrowing?
Oh my gosh. No, nothing to live up to that. I was gonna say, I mean, you've had issues with travel in the past. Like the time you tried to leave for Michigan.
Wait, so I'm sorry, say again? There was a.
I said you've had troubles with travel in the past, like
yes.
when you tried to fly out of Michigan.
That was completely my fucking fault, though. Like when I was trying to go home, because here's the thing: check-in in Philadelphia airport is so simple. Like it's literally like you walk in the door and the desk is right there, and it's like check in. I'm like, okay, great. The Michigan airport, you're like in this big area, and the check-in area is like a hallway down you have to go to. So I just like straight up skipped it and forgot, like, oh yeah, there's a part of this process that I'm missing.
Yeah, I think you were with us and we like walked. It is a desk right up front, but we went past it to get lunch.
Oh shit, that's what fucked me up.
With you.
Lunch. The lunch fucked me up.
And then you didn't go back.
Yeah. I went right from that lunch into the TSA line.
Yeah. It's
that one also is expensive.
Like you're there, you have your ticket.
I went through checkout. Like if the TSA cleared me and I have my ticket, like fucking let me on the plane. I don't know what this like.
Yeah, check-in is kind of a dumb.
Sorry, you didn't say hi to the desk.
Well, we need you to check in because we overbook things. And we need to know make sure that which of the people showed up.
Yeah, we want to make sure that our thirst for profit over convenience hasn't made this harder for you.
Actually, it though.
Anyways, yeah, so that was a mess up too. But I'm here's the thing. Both of those were learning experiences. I'll never make that fuck up again on a plane, and I'll never make that mistake again driving to Philly. The common denominator in both of these situations, that trip to Michigan was my first time just going to an airport by myself and like taking a plane, like as an adult. Like I've never done that before. So
when I flew to Philly, it was also my first time doing that.
It's an interesting experience, like doing something that you've done as a kid, but like with like basically a chaperone, like some kind of adult, and then like doing it yourself. There's like a weird. It takes getting used to, like the vibe of it.
Yeah. I never flew much as a kid. My dad was very much a like, we're driving across the country type thing rather than flying.
Yeah, we didn't do much flying. Which
makes sense, especially back then because gas was cheap and flying has never really been cheap. Yeah,
and we didn't do a lot of flying either. We did some flying back when we used to, like, sometimes when we would visit the family in Iowa, we would take a plane, and then I think the parents were like, so expensive, let's just drive, and that's why we started doing that instead.
Makes sense, especially the more people you have in the vehicle. You know?
Yeah.
So you only have to pay gas to move one car, and you load it up with as many people as you can fit. I get it, but I do wish I could have flown more, just because it's quicker, and but I understand why. My parents didn't want to pay for it. I wouldn't want to either.
No, fuck no. That's why I've driven instead of flying. Sometimes I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah. We drove out to your place, which is 10.5 hours, but that's because it's cheaper than flying.
Yeah. That's Yeah, that's a monetary factor. When Ryan and I visited you guys in Michigan, that first trip out, we drove as well, and that was because Ryan liked to drive and she don't trust planes. But
Yeah,
also,
I get that. A lot of people
yeah.
are not down for flying, and that's fair too.
I do wish we had flown because Ryan did have a tendency to not leave places until like the last, like the whole, like, okay, and this is
Right.
me complaining about my ex to you now, and I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
When we were gonna go visit you guys, we were like planning to leave at like 10 a.m. And I'm like, okay, Ryan, it's 10, let's go. And she's like, not yet. Let's chill for a little bit. Let's eat some lunch. You know, let's make sure we're well fed before we embark on this long trip. I'm like, okay. And so, you know, maybe 12 o'clock hits. I'm like, hey, should we get going soon? And she's like, no, not yet. And then 2 o'clock hits, and I'm like, hey, it's getting kind of like, it's getting later in the, like, we're gonna be showing up at a weird time. Should we should go? And she's like, no, not quite yet. Okay. And then, like, eventually I just stopped bringing it up because also Ryan scared the hell out of me, and if I asked too many questions, she would very frequently get angry. And so I just kind of
left at like 10 p.m.
We left at 10 p.m. Yes.
Which is late for a 10.5-hour drive.
Yes.
Especially since you guys both worked the next day. That was wild.
Yeah. Well, that was leaving your place.
What is wrong with you in travel?
This is also trying to get to your place. Like, not just leaving from your place, but this is also trying to get to your place. And yes, once again, we did leave at 10 p.m. And we got to work. I remember that day because I got to work that day. I had to work an 8-hour shift after having no sleep. And then they were like, hey, do you want to stick around to help us close? So that 8-hour day turned into a 12-hour day. And then at the end of my 12-hour...
I like that you said yes.
Yeah, right? And so at the end of my 12-hour shift, then they called me into the office and they were like, hey, so we're going to bring you on full time. Is that okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm a zombie now.
I go sleeping now.
I go sleep. But I did get hired. I mean, I'm glad I decided to stick around until close because that's when they hired me on as full time. So, like, if I hadn't...
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't. I guess it paid off.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Literally.
Just a real story of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps.
That's right. Oh, Brandon, do you have
quick
any...
question?
Yeah. Okay,
that I ask you all the time. How do I paint on the lines?
So in your brush like settings, you can set your brush to like background, behind, multiply. It's right next to like the brush. You set it to recolor, and then that does the trick.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
But Brandon, do you have any crazy travel stories you want to divulge to us? Do you have any?
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like it's hard to live up to those. I don't know. I haven't really had. It's been pretty uneventful, which I think is a good thing for travel. I tend to like my stress manifests itself in advance, so I overplan so that things won't go wrong for me.
I see.
Most of the time.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, no complaints. It serves me well. But yeah, I'm always like worried something's gonna go wrong, so I try to like triple check everything.
I
don't really have too many.
Sorry, go ahead. I've talked enough. Go ahead.
I don't have that really many stories. No. I mean, talk more. It's fine. Here's travel going wrong.
Here's the thing: is I'm a meticulous planner. It's just when things go askew, that's when it becomes an issue. But like I take pride in being a very not meticulous maybe because like I don't have like an itinerary. I don't have it this, that, the other. But like when I get on a plane, when I go to I'm going on vacation, I'm going somewhere, I know damn sure I have everything I need, and if I don't, I know I can like get it there if I need to. But like if I'm like going to like a remote island or something like that, which has never happened, you know, I do, but if I'm going somewhere where I don't think I'll be able to like make a purchase if I forget something, like I get my ducks in a fucking row, like, because I don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere with my ass out, you know what I mean? So,
right,
yeah. So it's not that I'm like fucking up the planning stages or anything. It's just when the unexpected situation arrives that throws me off. And I
That's
also
fair.
I consider myself a pretty decent improviser. Like if I gotta figure shit out, like, you know, I got home eventually from my being lost on the way home from Philly, so it worked. It's just still not fun.
No, not fun.
Not fun.
Question,
Didn't
just
last.
because the story is, yeah. So when you finally got the ability to look where you had to go,
Uh-huh.
if you had to predict how close you were to home, what would have been I know it was still an hour to go. What would have been your guess?
I think it was 60 miles. About 65 miles.
Yeah. But say you were like, before you looked, what were you
Oh.
thinking it was going to say? Like how close you think you had made it?
I
like,
had
in your head.
no idea. I
No idea.
legitimately, I like, here's the,
I
here's
guess
the thing.
at
Okay.
least it didn't say like 3 hours when you looked at
Thank
it. That would have
God.
been.
I will say this. So here's the funny part. My coworker Bill, who I've talked about on the show in the past, he hates to cook. I love to cook. I love
Okay.
cooking food for myself because I feel like I'm a picky eater. So when I make food for myself, it's the way
You know
I
you
like
like.
it. Yeah. So I love to cook and I love to eat my own cooking. Bill, my coworker, refuses to cook. So every day when we're at work, he also just tells me shit I don't care about a lot. So every day we're at work, he gives me like his list of like what he's gonna buy to eat and what he's gonna eat that night. I hear it every day. And it's always like,
Wow.
you know, I'll go to this place, I'll get that. I'm gonna get a Greek yogurt. I'm gonna go get a hoagie. And he frequently talks about going to this place called Redner's Market. And he's like, you should go to Redner's. It's like a 30-minute drive. You should go to Redner's Market. And I'm like, okay, maybe someday, Bill. When I eventually stopped at that Dunkin' Donuts to get information from that very nice, probably terrified to all hell, like Indian girl who I basically like pleaded to let me see her phone. I
Give
felt
me
so
your
bad
phone.
for her. I felt so bad for her because I'm sure she was like appropriately like freaked. Like, who is this guy?
I mean, if she gave it to you, that maybe there's a sign that you.
She didn't
you
give it
came
to
off
me.
as
She held the
genuine.
phone
Oh.
the whole time. And every time I was gonna like touch the phone to like poke at the map and like shift it somewhere, I was always like, "Can I touch your phone real quick?" So like I try to like I try to
Yeah,
make sure
that's
that
fair. I
I
mean,
try to make
smart. I wouldn't let you touch my phone either.
yeah, no,
no.
absolutely, fuck no, God no.
I'm like, this guy's gonna fucking grab this and run. He's gonna rob me.
I'm a sweaty guy wearing a fucking shirt from J Flashes, you know, like what the hell?
Yeah, the shirt. That's a nice visual for this whole story that I forgot about.
Yeah. So when I stopped at that Dunkin' Donuts, I had passed Redner's Market. And so when I passed Redner's Market, I was like, I'm in a vicinity of a place that I've heard of, that people I interact with go to on a fairly regular basis. So I knew at that point that I was
There you go.
close-ish. But then that's after I followed her instructions. That's when I saw the New York City sign, I believe. And so then I knew I'd gone way off base.
Gotcha. What a journey.
Yeah, it was something, man. My favorite part was when the GPS first died, and I'm like in the parking lot of a gas station that's closed, and I'm just like, if the gas station is closed, what businesses are going to be open?
Right.
It was rough.
That's a tough break.
Yeah, it was a little scary. I was a little scared. I didn't like freak out.
Yeah.
Like, I was definitely like anxious, but I tried to keep a cool head, and I was just like, look, there are people, there's places I can sleep in my car. Like, no matter what, I do have options. This isn't the end of the world. So I just tried to keep that in mind, that like, if worse comes to worse, I gotta sleep in my car, and that's not as like, at least I have a car to sleep in, and then like I can go to a Wawa or someplace in the morning. But one thing I should have done is when I had that cop giving me instructions, I thought about this as soon as he like drove away. I was like, I should have asked him if I could just like follow him until I got to that road he was talking about.
Yeah.
I should have had him like escort me essentially, but you know.
I think I have one similar story. I mean, I can't tell the whole thing because it was about my brother instead of me. But there was a time we were out for, I think it was like a bachelor party or something. It was some friend's thing. I can't remember. It was years ago now. But we were in Chicago and we were all out doing our thing, and we went back to the hotel. And then my brother's dumb, and he decided he was going back out for a little bit. And then he got very lost, and
no.
we, you know, some of it's on us too, of like not making sure our people were like in good shape or is safe or whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, we were like, don't go back out. And he's like, I'm going. We were going to bed. And so he got lost, and we're all asleep. And I think his phone died too, and he didn't know where to go. And he was like wandering around like Chicago at night, like,
Oh my God.
not knowing where to go. And that's like in bad areas and shit like that. And then we finally got to the hotel. Like, he had no way to prove that he was in the room, like should be in the room. So they're like, no, we're not just gonna let you like go up to this room. And he's like, call the room. And then like, I think none of us heard the phone, or we slept through it or something. And then he eventually convinced them to like, he's like, take me up there. We'll like knock on the door, and then you know, they'll answer it. And then finally, like, it was like an all night thing too. And he finally got back to the room, and it's just like, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'd do. I'd just like sit down and like, well, I guess I'll die.
Yeah, guess I'll die.
Well, first off, I wouldn't be in that situation because I wouldn't put myself in that situation. But still, it's crazy. I know shit goes sideways sometimes. You can't plan for everything.
Yeah.
But that was a self-inflicted stupid thing for him to do.
I actually just remembered another story I can tell you about being lost.
Hell yeah, let's keep it going.
All
This
right,
is the
so
episode about being lost. Viewers, people in the chat, have you ever felt lost? You ever felt, you know, you didn't know where you were going? Well,
wash in the ocean
you're not
of life.
lost anymore. You're with good friends who also get lost from time to time. You know,
that's right.
It's a normal thing. Now you're home.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind.
We're blind?
Now I see.
Have you heard the good news about our Lord and Savior?
So this other story about me getting lost was in New York City. This is 2009. I'm a first-year student in college, and Comic-Con is happening, and my buddy Steve has invited me to go with him to Comic-Con, and I'm like, fuck yes, I've always wanted to go to Comic-Con. Hell yeah. It's not as good as LA Comic-Con, but New York's pretty damn big, so this should be good. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we do. And while we're in New York, like, Steve was like, I got my living situation planned out. I'm staying in a hotel. I mean, there's not enough room in this hotel room for you. You got to figure something out. And I'm like, that's fine. My buddy Austin has just moved to New York City this year, and I can go crash with my buddy. So, you know, I'm at Austin's place.
So it was Austin's fault.
This is not Austin's fault. So we're hanging out.
I'm choosing to blame him.
Okay. You know what? I'm okay with this. I am. So to get to the New York Comic Con from Austin's place, I gotta take the subway. And this is like this is my first time in New York by myself. I had been to New York previous times, but it was always with Austin, and his dad was driving us and basically like our chaperone. Like we would go and when we were in like high school, middle school and stuff on like little trips, because Austin was always a big fan of New York City, and you know, he would make trips out there, and his dad worked there, so it was, you know. So get to Austin's place, get to New York Comic Con, do the Comic Con stuff for the first day, and then I'm like, hey man, like I'm gonna have to like text you to figure out how to get back. It's like, okay. I get in the New York subway, and I'm going to text Austin about how to get home, and that's when I learned my phone is dead. Once again.
Oh, God. These stories always start the same way.
Yep. I'm a horror movie.
We're too reliant on these things.
I know, these dang phones. I didn't even have a smartphone back then. It was like a flip phone. I just couldn't text Austin.
To get one of those.
It does, yeah. I couldn't text Austin to figure out like what things I had to take. And the thing about the New York subway is you can take as many trains as you want. You just got to pay to get on. And then it's like you go wherever. So I'm in the New York subway. I'm not about to fucking get out and then have to pay to get back in. So I'm like, all right, Ian. I know my destination. It's a place called Liberty Plaza, I think is what it was. And that's where I'm trying to get to. And there's a subway stop that stops at Liberty Plaza. So as long as I figure out what
New York City can't be that big, right?
New York City's not a big city.
Yeah, okay. Thought you weren't picking up what I was putting down for a second. Anyways, continue.
No, I got you. So I get on the subway, and then I try and read the subway maps, and it doesn't work at first. So I'm like taking trains, and I'm going places, and I'm pretty lost for an hour. It's about an hour of me not being sure where the fuck I'm going, and just like hopping on trains, hoping like the A has a stop at Liberty Plaza. I'm hoping the fucking C has a stop at Liberty Plaza. I'm hoping the E has a stop at Liberty Plaza. That's one line, by the way, is the ACE. That's like a whole station is the ACE.
Got it.
Because there's the ACE, there's the LMNO, and then there's the
P.
QPRS, I think.
No, that's not how the alphabet goes.
There's a lot of subway tracks for different letters, and I'm striking out. So eventually I like sit down and I read the subway map and I study it, and I figure it out. I learn how to read the New York subway map on my own, and that's great. And I start getting on the right tracks, and so then it's just a matter of getting home, and nothing crazy happened on the way home except for, this isn't crazy, but it's kind of weird. I'm standing there waiting for my train to take me to the like second to last stop, and I'm sitting there and there's some guy talking very energetically about dude, this picture of Michael Jackson standing in front of a crowd, the biggest crowd ever, like it's such a crazy picture. Just think about being such a huge performer as Michael Jackson, performing in front of like the largest crowd you've ever seen in your life. It's so, what a crazy picture, man. And he's like two drunk guys talking, and then I see like this really big sort of like Italian opera singer looking dude. He's got like gray hair, he's wearing a suit, and he's just kind of like slowly trudging my way. And I'm like, he doesn't look like he's walking.
Menacingly.
He doesn't look like he's walking at me. He's like, when I say trudging, I would say more sauntering, ambling, kind of just like a slow, he looked drunk, slow drunk walk. And he is slowly just kind of traveling in my direction, and I don't really pay attention. I'm like waiting for the subway train, and he's getting closer, and then he's just like about to like kind of like pass by me, like walk right in front of me. So I'm just kind of like watching him as he sort of just like slowly walks past me, and then as he walks past me, I don't know why he did this, he pokes me in the ribs and goes psh, and then just keeps walking.
There's some of those moments where like someone is, you know, doing something shitty to you, or even like in that occasion, I think it could technically be like labeled some kind of assault because you're touching a person. But sometimes in those moments, it's like, I'm not even mad. That was funny. That was weird.
I don't know. I don't have an explanation for this. I think the guy was just drunk and thought it'd be funny to go. Psh.
He saw you looking at him, and so he was like, you were looking at him, he was looking at you.
Yeah, it was probably that. It was probably,
he made a connection.
Because it didn't startle me. It startled me, but it wasn't like I could see what he was doing. So like it wasn't like a person poked me. I didn't know like who it was, and I look over and it's an old man.
But you weren't
like,
expecting to be poked.
No, I was not. And that was it. And then I got home. And I'll never forget that either.
I don't know why this reminds me of that, but it's more like situations that like maybe on paper it sounds bad. The stranger touches you on the train. It's like funny because of context and the weirdness.
That is, I should start. Should I tell you guys about the time a stranger inappropriately touched me on the subway?
But real quick, Lotus Clock says, I want to poke Ian Newton in the ribs and go, psh. And I like the way he spelled psh. It's pretty accurate. It's a good Pretty good way to do it. Maybe it needs an S in there.
Yeah, I think it needs a.
But this is unrelated, but it was another scenario where like instead of being mad, I was just like, well, that was funny.
Yeah.
I was at a party and it was like I think it was a Halloween party or something, and it was like at like a place, like it wasn't like somebody throwing a party. It was like an event type thing where you buy tickets and it's a big bash, and it had like food included and everything like that. So that's part of the story that why I wasn't mad, because I didn't outright pay for this more than the ticket price. Anyways, I had a big plate of food that I had just very caringly like picked out,
assembled,
and like decided all the things I wanted. I was psyched to eat it. I was walking back, and this guy and his girlfriend was absolutely smashed drunk. And as I'm walking past her, she like looked me in the eyes, and then she just like smacked my plate from underneath and just like launched it across the room. And the look on her boyfriend's face was like, oh no, now I'm gonna have to fight this guy that my girlfriend just like, he was sober, and he was so apologetic, and I was just like laughing because I'm like, did not see that coming. That's
funny as hell.
That was crazy. So I thought, and like I said, I didn't pay extra for the food, so I was wasteful, sure, but I was kind of just like,
that's pretty
funny. I'm like, no, that was actually funny. That'll be a good story, I guess.
Yeah. This also applies, what Zenut said applies to your story as well. He said, invasive thoughts win sometimes. Yeah, the intrusive thoughts,
they do.
Won out between those two characters in our lives.
Her thoughts were, fuck this guy, and she launched my food into the atmosphere.
That's so funny.
But I wasn't mad about it. I feel bad for whoever had to clean it up.
Yeah.
But you know,
still pretty funny. Hey, I mean, you remember that party now.
It's true. And you know, nobody was harmed.
Yeah, it was a harmless fucking thing. At least you didn't like. That's funny that the guy thought he was gonna have to fight you, but I mean, it's funny that there is that threat,
somebody,
you know,
who would just be really pissed off.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna attack her. They're gonna go for the boyfriend that's like standing next to her.
There's that Key and Peele sketch where it's like the girlfriend keeps getting into like fights with people, and then she like has the boyfriend go and get beat up for her.
It's a real thing with some people.
Yeah.
They like draw bad attention, and then they're not the ones who have to pay for it.
Yeah. It's a very real thing. Ryan also would sometimes get into shit and then expect me to like deal with it, and I'd be like,
yeah, solve
this.
That's a you situation.
You did this.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
That's a funny story though.
Gosh, what a great collection of anecdotes.
Man, this
gone down the line of tonight.
Man, we had so much material to like talk about this episode. This will never happen again.
We talked about life instead of things we've watched on a TV.
It's almost like we should do that. Like, we should live lives so that we can talk about our lives and like interesting things that happen to us. Because it's almost like these are more interesting stories than like, I watched Game of Thrones. Which, by the way, you watched Game of Thrones, didn't you?
Oh, well, now I'm not going to talk about it.
Come on.
I did. It was the season finale of Dragon Show.
Season 2, right?
Season 2, yeah.
How'd you like it?
I liked it. The show's like got my interest now. About, I'd say around the end of the first season, or like a little bit into the second. I'm like, okay, now I'm actually like, what's gonna happen? I'm interested.
Okay.
But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't know. I just read a thing that said they have 7 Game of Thrones spin-offs in the works, which that grosses me out.
Dude, like,
such a misstep. Everybody does it.
Everyone does it. Like when fucking the Barbie movie like was successful, the very next day, like it's like Mattel is planning a Monopoly movie. Mattel is planning Candyland the movie. And it's like, you guys don't understand. Like, this was successful because you gave the project to a person who gave a shit, and they did a good job.
It's wild how the people who have the power to make these decisions they just don't get it at all.
Well, they make their money by not getting it. Like that's how. Like it doesn't matter. Like if they get it or not. Like they get paid.
Yeah. True.
It's like with Bungie, how they got like they just like laid off like 220 people and like shifted an additional 150. Like Bungie lost like 36% of its workforce or something like that last week right after their DLC launched and was very successful. And it's like 100%. Like everyone knows that it's the fucking CEO's fault that this is the way it is.
Yeah.
So you like the dragon? Who needs them?
It's pretty good. It's. I was hoping. Well, okay. So the season in general was good. I like the season better than last season. Pretty cool.
Of Game of Thrones.
Now the, yeah. Of the yeah, exactly. No, but of Dragon Show, especially. It's kind of cool because like so in Game of Thrones all the dragons are like extinct, and then she has 3 of them that she manages to get.
Spoilers.
In this show, oh my god!
I'm sorry.
It's been 10 years. No, I'm just kidding.
God forbid I don't talk for like 5 minutes. I have to make a joke. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean I was making comments the whole time you were talking.
I know. I just feel like I've monopolized. Anyways, go ahead.
So in this show, there's lots of dragons, and it's kind of cool because they're all like visually different. So that's really fun. It feels almost like, I don't know, like they all have their like, it feels like kind of anime, how they're like, this is my dragon and it's big, and this is mine and it's really like,
oh yeah,
like a water dragon and this one's fast, and like I don't know, it's kind of cool how they all have their own like advantages based on the like specific one they got. So that's fun. The show in general is pretty good. It's like, it's not quite as compelling as Game of Thrones, but that also could have to do with the fact that I haven't watched like 10 years worth of it yet, you know, so
yeah,
maybe it takes a little bit to get you. But yeah, it's pretty good. There's still it's things are still kind of like escalating. Granted, the other show escalated to the very end and then just kind of dropped the ball. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm enjoying it for what it is, but yeah, I don't know. It's pretty good.
Cool.
This last episode was like season finale, so I'm like, okay, so some big shit's gonna go down, and some kind of did, but it was a lot more like chess pieces moving around the board than like an action scene, and I was waiting for this action scene. And I'm like, oh, like boy, they're really waiting. There's only 10 minutes left in the episode. They're crazy that they're waiting to the last 10 minutes to do this action scene that I know is gonna happen, and then it didn't, and I was like, oh,
they Breaking Bad you.
A little bit.
But that's that was my favorite aspects of Game of Thrones, was the like chess pieces, the political intrigue. Once it kind of became about the zombies and the dragons, like I did lose a bit of interest. I do like both. I thought the first season
got unbalanced.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way of putting it. The balance wasn't there anymore.
But yeah, I don't know. So it's pretty good. If you like Game of Thrones, you'll like it. It's not as good, but it's good.
All right.
I don't really know what more to say about it, really. I mean,
you don't got it.
It's yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like we need any other like elements in this drawing?
I was just gonna make the
seat.
The like bench.
Yeah, I'm glad you decided to add that in, because I hadn't even considered that, but it definitely makes sense to put that in there.
Other than that, I think it's done.
Cool. While we finish this up, I did want to. Oh, your color is better. Did you change your color? Oh, because you're doing the side.
Okay. Yeah, I did change the color.
Oh wait, we should probably flip them. The side should be the darker color, and the brighter color should go on the top, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to talk. I mentioned this at the top of the episode, but I did want to bring up.
Yeah. Didn't know how much about you'd be able to talk about. That's go ahead.
I actually can probably talk about it quite extensively, just because the guy who's running the show has been streaming the entire process on Twitch.
Oh, Awesome. You should drop that info too at the end so that we can follow.
I will. So knowing that though, like he is the guy who made the show, and when I was looking through the Google Drive of all of our elements and stuff like that we're working on, he there in the Google Drive folder there is like an NDA section to read. I haven't read it,
okay.
but I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna risk it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Lord Spew, he's the guy who's the showrunner. He can probably talk about a show all he wants. Me, I'm not gonna pretend like I have that same sort of permission.
Right.
So I've linked to his stream in the chat. I'm sure you can find VODs. He's been doing the entire creative process on this show on Twitch. So that's cool that they let him do that. But anyways, so basically, Lord Spew, I've known him since college. I knew him a little bit. I took like a couple writing classes with him, and that was fun. And then we kind of like just became Facebook friends. And like we would occasionally comment on each other's stuff. And then I would like, I'd give congratulations or I'd wish him a happy birthday if it was his birthday. And we've talked a couple times. We would talk a couple times in college, like be like, hey, I love your story, blah, 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 blah. He started streaming, so I would catch him on Twitch during the pandemic and be like, hey, and that's how I got to know him. Anyways, in college, he had a character who was very well liked. Like his animation for this, like for the showcase, like because at the end of every year you do an animation showcase, everyone shows off what they've made. It's college, not everyone's a winner. I'm just gonna say that right now. Not everything was easy to watch or fun to watch or enjoyable, but I'm gonna clap regardless. His animation was People are learning. His animation was actually fun to watch though, so that was cool. Apparently he had pitched it to an Adult Swim, like the character, a while back, and they said no, but also he had gone far enough in the process where he essentially like lost the rights to the character for a while, like 8 years or something like that, which sucks. I hate that.
That should be illegal. That's crazy.
I agree. So then, this year, I want to say in March, I was on his stream because I'm a moderator on his stream, so I try and like be on his streams when I can to try and like fucking do some work if I gotta. But in March he announced that like Adult Swim, he had gone through the pitching process with Adult Swim. I think it was with Smalls, like the things that we were pitching.
Okay.
And they essentially said like, hey, we'll give you another chance at this character. And so, but he had to do it in a different direction. Like his original idea was like, it was kind of more superhero-y, like almost, and like violent, whereas this one has to go in a different direction. So that's what he did. So he gets to make a series. He's got a limited run 3-episode online series that he's making right now. And I popped into his Twitch chat recently, and he said, hey, we're out of money, we're out of budget, we still have to finish this 3rd episode. I can't pay you, but your name will be in the credits. Would you like to help out with this? And I said, of fucking course. And so we had a meeting, I got myself all set up. I have accomplished 2 of my shots that I need to get done so far. He knows I'm busy too. He knows I'm working like an actual day job and stuff like that. And so like, it's basically
how many
like
shots you got to do?
Well, here's the thing. It's basically like I pick one. Like I can just choose my workload essentially. Like I'm just trying to help out, just trying to get this thing across the finish line. There's no actual like specific amount assigned to me, but I'm just like taking shots if they're not done and trying to finish them up for him. But basically the idea is that like, again, my name will be in the credits if once the animation is done, and there is the possibility of the show getting picked up for an actual like season of the show. And if that happens, it's been basically expressed to me that I will be on the team if that happens, which means I'm in.
Well, I hope that happens.
Me too. It'd be cool to have a professional credit to my name, which would just make anything a lot easier. And also, it would be cool to get paid like animation money.
Yes.
Which would be sick.
It's great as well.
Because I get paid bike shop money, and bike shop money is actually better money than I made at the bank, minus healthcare. but bike shop money is also still not as much money as what I assume animation money is.
There you go. You gotta climb that ladder.
I'm climbing, man. I'm climbing.
Restaurant money.
I'm on the next rung. So I'm very psyched about that. I'm gonna have an Adult Swim animation credit to my name. Very fucking pumped about that. Check out Lord Spew's channel on Twitch. I would trust. I just feel more comfortable letting him divulge any further information about the project.
Yeah, I think that's a safe move. Mm-hmm. But regardless, that's awesome. I'm psyched for you.
Thank you very much.
Excited to see, the final product.
When he asked me to be on the project, I stood up and I did a lap around the house, pumping my fists. So I was thrilled. a lot of excitement about that one.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
And we love Lord Spew. He's
very good guy.
Check out his stream if you haven't.
Yeah.
He does a lot of late night streams, but regardless, give him a follow.
Mm-hmm. Very talented guy, very nice guy. He even offered, he said to me hey, if there is any shot that is not even started and I like it, I can basically claim it and take it from beginning to end and then use it as a portfolio piece. He offered that to me, and I said, that's so fucking generous of you to trust me with that, first of all, because that's a trust thing, to essentially do all of the work of a shot in this animation you need to get done in a week and a half or something like that. It's a lot of trust, and I appreciate that. But I told him hey man, that's awesome, but where I'm at right now, I'm just trying to get this thing across the finish line. That's my goal, is just I'm trying to get it across the finish line. If I prove myself to be helpful and we get this thing done, I don't know.
Awesome. Well, the ones you've shown me look good. Or, I mean, you haven't shown me. The ones you told me about look good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Cool. Leviathan says, that's amazing, cuz I'm rooting for you. That's every kid's dream who's an artist and watch Adult Swim.
That's my fucking dream. I've always wanted to work for Adult Swim. This shit's sick.
I hear they're a good, or at least in the past have been good to work for as well.
That's what I hear as well. So, I hope, like I said, I hope the show gets picked up, because then I'll be able to I'll be part of the team, which would be a huge boon to my career. But also I'll just I'm thrilled right now that I get to work on an Adult Swim production. I'm so fucking psyched just about that sentence. I don't even care if I get money. I'm already thrilled that my name's in the credits of an Adult Swim thing. I'm so fucking psyched about that. I love Adult Swim. They're one of the few channels, quote unquote, that's doing things that I'm 100% behind. They're they'll put shorts out and stuff that are just nonsensical but are artistic, and I think that's so they're putting art out there, and I think that's so valuable to see just even one channel just promoting just straight up art. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it better myself. Jay Marshall's here as well, says hi.
Hey,
and he also says hello. Congrats, Ian.
Thank you, Jay Marshall. I appreciate that. Leviathan does says, but your folks were so stoked. I hope so. I think so. I think they're pretty psyched. I'm sure they wish it was paying, but they don't understand. They don't get it.
Yeah, you got to take little steppies.
Just little steppies here and there. Jay Marshall says, BTW, when is Ryan a girl's name? It's
Lowe's Clock asked that earlier too. So.
Yeah, Lowe's Clocks. I think that's how Jay Marshall saw that and was like, what? Maybe I shouldn't have spelt it in the chat, because I don't know how many people actually have that name. If you probably Google that, you'll probably find her.
Just doxing people.
I just doxed her.
Stop doxing people.
Shit, I might blur this on YouTube.
And then Ian swatted her right after that. It was crazy.
Yeah, I did. I called it and I'm like, how could you put 5 years of my life?
God.
Also, Leviathan then says, fuck, I'm stoked and I barely know you. That's a lie. He's my cousin. He knows me very well. I see him every year at least.
Who knows anybody?
Yeah. Jay Marshall says, I know of another female Ryan, a young adult author named Ryan Groudon. If her name is Ryan, why do you pronounce it like Ryan? Because that's how her name is pronounced.
That's how it's pronounced.
When I dated her, she was very adamant that that's how her name was pronounced. As many times as I tried to pronounce it Rianne.
I mean, it's pronounced however the person who has the name says it's pronounced, right? Like,
yeah.
You get to choose your name to a degree. I mean, you don't, but you can change it.
Well, you can change your name.
You kind of do.
Yeah, but also like that was her name. That was her name.
There you go.
It's Irish, and the Irish language is designed to confound the English. That's true. The Irish hate the English. That is a fact.
You ever create a spite language?
No, but Tolkien did. And then final thing is Zenut says, to be fair, her name is Ryan, please find me. So that is true. That is her name. Fully doxed now.
Yeah.
Go find her. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, like, there are pictures that I am tagged with her in it, or
Stop
she's
giving
tagged
people
me.
tools.
I know. I really. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Jesus
Stop
Christ.
it.
I'm sorry. She's gonna be found by all 5 of the people who watch us.
Oh no. And 4 of which already know her.
Yeah. The Irish are based as fuck, and that is actually true. The Irish are pretty fucking based in general. I don't want, in terms of internal conflicts in Ireland, I can't comment on those. But nowadays, there's a lot less car bombs, and in general, the Irish are pretty based. It's just a thing. Anyways, Brandon.
Yeah, see ya.
You started to talk like that earlier, so I felt like I should.
Do you have anything to plug?
Did we plug Short Fest last week?
I believe so.
I hope so.
We did.
I thought about it.
We did.
Okay.
We did. I recall. And I mean, honestly, this episode we've been kind of plugging things the whole time.
It's true.
Check out Lord Spew. Check out Short Fest.
Yeah. Check out Dungeon Soup. I try and promote an independent animation channel every week. I've talked about these guys before, but I don't have. I saw an animation this week, and I was like, I should promote this during DrawBomb. I forget, man. I forget it. I'm sorry. So check out Dungeon Soup. Yeah, we gotta coordinate or we gotta write our ideas or our little plugs down. But yeah, Dungeon Soup. They make little short 3-minute animations, usually about fantasy stuff. It's like kind of all in the same fantasy universe. But they're really funny. That's They give me huge Augenblick vibes in a good way. And just really quality stuff. I think their stuff is really good, and I want more people to know about them. They're much more successful than us. They have like at least 100,000 followers. So they're
isn't everybody. You don't need to rub it in my face.
And would she wind up the wound?
I don't know. They're doing Irish stuff in there. I'm assuming that has something to do with that.
I see. Would she wind up the wound? Would she wind up the wound? Every country has a perfectly designed.
Aaron go bra, which is another Irish saying. I forget what it means.
I think it means cash machine go brr.
A person named Aaron goes. Bah!
Every country has a perfectly designed civilized language, and then the English are all like fish.
It's Aaron go.
Nice. Yeah, very well done. Very well done. Haha, letter I go.
Yeah, but besides Short Fest, nothing really to plug. Keep an eye on this channel because I'm gonna try to start doing some stuff besides Monday nights. I'm hoping to do a drawing stream tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
And yeah. I'm also playing Mass Effect now. So
that's right. As Commander Shepard, like you are. I like that you're
playing
doing
the character
in character.
I don't even exist in this stream. No camera on me most of the time.
Makes it easier to green screen you out of the video if I gotta edit it. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I did this all for you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my plug is this channel.
Yeah. Oh, that's what usually what our plug is is this channel.
That's true. DrawBomb Monday.
Yeah,
we stopped doing that for a while, but yeah.
Well, because we didn't have anything to plug. We haven't had anything. We have like.
Well, no, I know, but we used to say like, I do the show, a drawing show on Twitch every Monday.
We forgot that running joke. We stopped doing that. Oh my god.
We stopped doing it. That's what.
Jeez. What is wrong?
There's seasons of DrawBomb. You know, things change.
We should do seasons. That would be kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, but there would have to be like, some kind of like running
long period of
thing
time
during the season.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Well, I'm saying like some kind of like this season has this aspect to it, whether it's like a side cartoon or something, or some kind of goal that the chat is working towards. These are good ideas. These are good ideas, right here.
These are actually good. Like unironically, these are good ideas.
Let's do this
ideas.
shit.
Maybe episode 200 will start the next season. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. And then maybe like, yeah, okay, we'll talk more off stream. I don't want to pitch. Well, you know.
Okay.
Let's go behind the curtain.
You want to wet people's whistles without having anything to show for it.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, they're all singing the DrawBomb theme song right now, which is Cotton Eye Joe.
DrawBomb is recorded live from studio.
No, Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh no. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
In the chat.
You're reacting to the comments below Lotus Clocks.
Right, we started something. Well, he says it's the DrawBomb song again. Then Jay Marshall said Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah. To be fair.
And then the chat just broke out into song.
Oh no.
Big bunch of rednecks fans.
If there's anything I can prevent from happening on this show, it's ever having to hear Cotton Eye Joe again. Okay.
What do you call a redneck fan? Like a neckhead?
A redhead. Or no, wait.
Redhead. I guess yeah, redhead works better than neckhead. Both are confusing.
But it's there's no proper answer for this, unfortunately. It's all the answers are left
What do you call?
wanting.
Yeah, what do you call a rednecks fan? You don't. They don't exist.
I wonder if they do actually. They'd probably. I mean, they've been
Someone
a
out
band
there
for like
loves
20
them.
years. Someone has to like them.
They do shows. I'm assuming there's people in the audience.
Yeah, they wouldn't do shows if no one showed up. They have a Wikipedia
It's just
page.
their family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because who would do a show for years if nobody watched it? Am I right, Ian? Somebody would be stupid to do a show for years that hardly anybody watched. Whether it's weekly, on Mondays at 8, or some other time, any other time. If no one was watching, why would they even do this to themselves? Why would they put themselves through this facade, this charade, if no one was watching?
You're right. That would be weird. Good thing we don't do that.
Yeah.
That being said, it is time for us to go, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed us
I think
talking
that's a good
about
note.
being lost. Zach described it as trauma bonding over being lost.
Well, you know, we're in a safe spot now. We can talk about getting
That's
back
right.
to home base.
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it. We made it to home base. Just like in many of those survival craft 'em ups that we do. Like that one time, I went out very, very far, and I rescued Kelvin. And it took me like an hour and a half, I would say.
Oh yeah.
And I brought Kelvin all the way back to our base from like this remote island that we paraglided to essentially. And then he died. He died then. I got back all the way back to the base, and then he died because he got killed by a trap, I believe is what we ended up.
I think I cut him down, to be honest.
Oh my god.
We're in a fight. There's enemies everywhere, limbs everywhere, and I swung at a monster and I hit Kelvin in the face.
Yeah, Leviathan Den was there
no
too.
more. I'm
actually.
pretty sure it was me.
And you guys can you guys can attest to this. It was probably obvious how legitimately like not happy about that turn of events I was.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we picked up on it because at the time we were like, I don't know how it happened. Now I'm willing to admit because you've had a chance to cool down.
I've had a chance to cool off. I've cooled off. I'm not coming in
Look,
hot
I
anymore.
didn't. The only, well, I'm not sure. It was a.
I was mad though.
Yeah, that's fair.
I tried
wasn't
not
being too. This was like one of like 100 times that we got in a fight and Calvin was like in the mix, but
yeah.
And then, but this time his head got in the way of my katana, I think.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, it was.
And Dan
it was
killed the other companion,
right.
as he's saying in the chat right now.
We killed both of the helpful NPCs in that game, not by choice, but it just worked out that way. Which, I mean, to be fair, after watching the actual proper endings of the game, which we didn't get any because we chose to stay on the island for bullshit.
Well, I wanted to see,
Yeah,
that's fine. I watched the endings.
I mean, you can find the endings on YouTube, so I basically got the experience anyways. So.
Yeah. Lotus Clock says,
I was pretty mad.
Right now is the third time you've been trying to end the show. Will you extend it even further?
Da bam! Hey, business father just popped up in the chat.
I was setting you up to just like
oh,
end
just
it.
cut.
But now business father's here. Hey,
Hey!
I was trying to telepathically.
I'm sorry.
Tell you to do a bit.
I'll be fully honest. It might have been business father popping in and saying hi that distracted me, but I was not picking up on
That's all right. That's all right. I was like, we often have the same ideas, so I'm just like, I'm gonna read it real slow and then.
I feel like
but it's fine.
I feel like, yeah, if I hadn't been distracted, I feel like I would have picked up on it because we usually do. We're pretty good about that, but
we can't be in sync all the time.
It just doesn't work that way, It's like
Lotus Clock says to business father, "You're right on time to be late." Anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks,
we just had.
Lotus Clock, Jay Marshall, C News, Leviathan Dead. I think John Print Pony. Is that everybody? Did I say everybody? I think so.
Did we say Mad Lad?
Mad Lad.
I feel like that was actually everybody then.
Yeah, got him. Thank you all so much. We love you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Business father, I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah, sorry you're late.
Just in time for us to ditch you.
Yeah. Have a good one, you legend, says Jay Marshall. Thank you so much. We're not legends. We're just some guys. All right. Bye.
Bye.
I'm washing the windows right now. You can see this.